All right, so we're gonna do week 4. So why should doctors ask about ATSI origin? We want to respect identity, identify health inequality, and we want to avoid stereotyping. And also, if there are any specific policies that we can use, such as maybe the PBS benefit scheme or specific ACCH as Aboriginal community controlled health services, or any special, I guess, health related organizations we can direct them to. That's why we want to ask about their origin. So the leading cause of death for ATSI is going to be ischemic heart disease as well. However, we do have some differences here. So chronic lower respiratory disease, DM, I think it's diabetes mellitus, lung cancer, and self-harm. Notice that the first one, ischemic heart disease, is the same, and lung cancer is the same for the fourth one, versus here we have self-harm compared to chronic and lower respiratory disease. So let's talk about their geographical location. So 1/3 in major cities, 2/3 outside. These are good numbers to memorize because, again, it's just going to come up again year 2. New South Wales has the largest number of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. However, the Northern Territories have the greatest population. Again, these could be like easy MCQs. But I think the key thing is, don't worry about what's going to come up as an MCQ or a short answer. Just try to get as much information in as you can. And then once you have the information, you can really apply it to any question type. So cultural influences on health. Essentially, you have obligations, beliefs, kinship and community, and connection to country. And again, it's not just to memorize these things, but provide an example and maybe be able to write 2 sentences for each one. Again, these are things that may seem like words, but they're very different ideas. So obligations could be connected to maybe obligations to kinships, but it also could be cultural obligations, obligations to community, connection to country, and the importance of country when treating with medicine. That's why when they have to go to the city to deal with certain treatments, it's a type of like homesickness, if I had to explain it in simplest words. And then belief systems. So there might be a need for traditional medicine, the importance of family, the importance of elders. There may be skin groups, so maybe they don't want to interact with certain medical staff because of those obligations and belief systems. So again, there are a lot of things that need to be considered there. Now, another example is with smoking, which is kind of, I think it came up in the GLS, which was that smoking targeted at individuals was not effective. However, when they did smoking strategies in relation to the community, including elders in that talk, and kind of showing how if people are going to smoke, it's going to impact the kids rather than the individuals, that was actually a really effective strategy. So simply by addressing the obligations, beliefs, kinship and community, and connection to country, we can influence health policy to improve our chance of success, essentially. Now, ACCHS, what is this? This thing will basically come up every single year. And the best way I can describe it is it's an Aboriginal community controlled health organization. It's run by the local community to address community needs. And the first one was in Redfern, which was in 1971. And it's essentially run by the community. Some limitations, though, that you should consider are that because essentially there's a board that is elected to run this organization, Redfern just being one of them, it's that as the board changes, the focus or I guess the institution itself changes to some extent. And also depending on who's sitting on that board, they're focusing on the policies that they choose to focus on will also change. Now, why establish ACCHSs? Well, you have self-determination and autonomy of the ATSI communities. Remember, the government is no longer enforcing their policies. They are. So it gives them autonomy. There's also transgenerational trauma. So they overall just have a lack of trust in government organizations. It addresses poor levels of service and also addresses the unique needs such as traditional medicine and community needs as some examples. So try to say that as a sentence, maybe 2-3 sentences for this question.